Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast, coming to you from beautiful Miami, Florida. This is going to be the all-inclusive NCAA tournament predictions and preview podcast. Let's get to it. Tonight, for the first four, you have Radford against LIU Brooklyn. The best player on the court will be Carlik Jones of the Highlanders. His buzzer beater lifted the team to the spot. The Blackbirds have a solid player in Joel Hernandez as well. But the Highlanders are the better team, so give you the Highlanders over the Blackbirds to advance to the round of 64. Also tonight you have the UCLA Bruins against the St. Bonaventure Bonnies. The Bruins have Aaron Holiday and a bunch of other great players on their team. But the Bonnies have the best player on the court in Jalen Adams. But you know what? The Bruins have the better team. So give you the UCLA Bruins over the St. Bonaventure Bonnies to advance to the round of 64. Tomorrow night, you have Battle of 16 seeds in Texas Southern and NC Central. The Tigers of Texas Southern have DeMontre Jefferson and Trayvon Reed. The Eagles also have a solid player in Pablo Rivas, but give me the Tigers over the Eagles to advance to the NCAA tournament. So Texas Southern will move on. And tomorrow night, you also have the 11 seeds, Arizona State and Syracuse. The Sun Devils were great outside the conference, but bad in conference play. They have a nice backcourt in Trey Holder and Remy Martin. The Syracuse Orange have Tyus Battle, but they do not belong in this field. Give you the Sun Devils over the Orange as Arizona State will advance to the round of 64. And speaking of the round of 64, I'm going to go through my picks right now. You have 1 seed Virginia against 16 seed the UMBC Retrievers. Jarius Lyles had to hit a buzzer beater to beat Vermont in the title game, and that's why the Retrievers are here. But the Cavaliers are the best team in college basketball, led by Kyle Guy and Devin Hall, and they'll destroy the Riveteers to move on to the round of 32. 8 seed Creighton against 9 seed Kansas State. This was a tough call. The Wildcats have 2 solid players in Barry Brown and Dean Wade, and they're an underrated duo. And the Blue Jays have Marcus Foster, who could be the best player on the floor in this game. They'll slow down Foster, that is the Wildcats defense, as they will advance to the round of 32. Number 5, Kentucky against number 12, Davidson. The Kentucky Wildcats are a big game team. They're playing really well right now. Kevin Knotts and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander are awesome players. The Davidson Wildcats might have the best player on the court in Peyton Aldridge. And you know what? They probably deserve to play a better or a worse 5 seed than Kentucky. So I have the Wildcats of Kentucky moving on to the round of 32. Number 4 seed Arizona against number 13 seed Buffalo, the Buffalo Bulls. The Arizona Wildcats have the best player on the court in DeAndre Ayton. The Sean Miller saga is pretty much done. There hasn't been much buzz about it since Miller had that press conference. The Bulls, I wish were playing a week or 4, or also would have strongly considered picking them here. CJ Massenberg and Nick Perkins and Jeremy Harris is a nice trio, but Ayton's going to dominate, and the Arizona Wildcats will blow out the Buffalo Bulls to move on to the round of 32. 6 seed Miami Hurricanes against 11 seed Loyola of Chicago Ramblers. The Hurricanes have a nice player in Lonnie Walker, but they're missing their best player in Bruce Brown. The Ramblers are a popular upset pick, and Clayton Custer and Dante Ingram is a nice duo, and you know what? I'm taking the Ramblers here to pull off an upset over Miami. So give me Loyola Chicago. Number 3 seed, the Tennessee Volunteers against the number 14 seed Wright State Raiders. The Vols have a nice duo in Grant Williams and James Daniel, and they're lucky that they got a week 14 seed in the Raiders, who have a nice player in Grant Benzinger, but the Vols are just better, so they'll advance to the round of 32. Number 7 seed Nevada Wolfpack against number 10 seed Texas Longhorns. The Wolfpack are somehow in the field, although they did lose in the Mountain West semifinals against San Diego State. They should at least be in the first four, if not out of the field entirely. Caleb Martin's a nice player. He won the Player of the Year in the Mountain West Conference. And the Longhorns have the best player on the court in Mo Bamba. The Andrew Jones story is inspiring this team. And they're lucky they're playing a week 7 seed, so give me the Texas Longhorns to advance to the round of 32. Number 2 seed Cincinnati Bearcats against number 15 seed Georgia State Panthers. The Bearcats are a great defensive team led by Jacob Evans and Gary Clark. The Panthers pulled off an upset 3 years ago over the Baylor Bears. And this year they have a solid player in DeMarcus Simmons, who won the Sun Belt Player of the Year award. But give me the Bearcats in a blowout to advance to the round of 32. Now to the East region. Number 1 seed Villanova Wildcats against number 16 seed Radford Highlanders. The Wildcats arguably should be the favorite to win this whole tournament. Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges is an excellent duo. The Highlanders have Carlik Jones, as I mentioned before. He'll keep his team in the game for maybe a half or so. And the Highlanders are better than a 16 seed. So give me the Villanova Wildcats to defeat the Radford Highlanders and advance to the round of 32. And obviously if LIU Brooklyn was in this game, I'd pick Villanova as well. Number 8 seed Virginia Tech Hokies against the 9 seed Alabama Crimson Tide. The Hokies were just bound for the 8-9 game. Justin Robinson's a nice player. And in theory, the Alabama Crimson Tide were overseeded because of too many losses, but the eye test says that they are worth the 9 seed by my eyes. Like I said, the eye test for the Tide. And the Tide have by far the best player on the court in Colin Sexton. And as I mentioned, overseeded due to too many losses. If the Hokies got a worse than 9 seed on paper, maybe if they got in, say, Florida State, I would have picked them. Well, although they wouldn't get Florida State because Florida State's in their conference. But give me the Crimson Tide to advance to the round of 32. Number 5 seed West Virginia Mountaineers against the 12 seed Murray State Racers. Press Virginia is still valuable to the Mountaineers' success, although teams have figured it out over the past few years, especially the ones in their conference. Although they did go 11-7 in conference play, they're still a really good team. Javon Carter's the best two-way guard in the country. Sagaba Kanate is arguably the best rim protector in the country. Lamonte West and Issa Ahmad are decent players as well. Daxter Miles Jr. is a senior in the backcourt along with Carter. The Racers deserved to play a weaker 5 seed in my opinion. Maybe a Clemson or even a 4 seed Auburn would be a better match for them, or even a not so good as usual Wichita State team. You can make a case for that as well. But Jonathan Stark's a good player. This game's going to be closer than expected, but give me the Mountaineers to advance to the round of 32. Number 4 seed Wichita State Shockers against number 13 seed Marshall Thundering Herd. The Shockers are still a very good team, although they don't play as good as defense as they used to. They're a little bit overseeded in my opinion. Shaq Morris and Landry Shamet are a good duo. The Thundering Herd should have been a 12 seed because they won a better conference in CUSA than, say, Murray State did with the OVC, or even, say, UNC Greensboro did with the SoCon, because Marshall's a better team than UNC Greensboro, and they're both 13 seeds. John Elmore's a good player for the Thundering Herd, but give you the Shockers by double digits here to advance to the round of 32. Number 6 seed Florida Gators against number 11 seed UCLA Bruins. The Gators have been very inconsistent of late. They have a ton of potential though. Kevon Allen and Keith Stone are good players. I would have picked the Gators here if they were playing St. Bonaventure, but nope, I am taking the UCLA Bruins, who are a really good team. They're a big game team. Aaron Holiday, Jalen Hands, and Chris Wilkes is a very good trio as they'll advance to the round of 32. Number 3 seed Texas Tech Red Raiders against the 14 seed Stephen F. Austin Jackrabbits. The Red Raiders, I think, are overseeded. They did not finish the season well in Big 12 play. Keenan Allen's a really good player. The Jackrabbits are overseeded. Ty Holyfield's a nice player. They're not the Stephen F. Austin of a few years ago that had Thomas walk up and pull up an upset over West Virginia in the round of 64 and nearly knocked off Notre Dame in the round of 32. They're no longer that team, so give me the Texas Tech Red Raiders to advance to the round of 32. Number 7 seed Arkansas Razorbacks against number 10 seed Butler Bulldogs. The Razorbacks are overseeded in my opinion. They should have been in the 8-9 game. Darrell Macon's a nice player. The Bulldogs are a big game team. Kalon Martin and Kamar Baldwin are a good duo, so give me the Butler Bulldogs to advance to the round of 32. An underseeded Butler team, as I should have pointed out before. Number 2 seed Purdue Boilermakers against 15 seed CS Fullerton Titans. The Boilermakers are by far the better team, led by Carson Edwards, Vincent Edwards, and Isaac Hass. They're a solid big three, although the Titans, I think, should have been a 16 seed. Khalil Ahmad and Kyle Allman are solid players, though. But like I said, Boilermakers, big. So give me the Purdue Boilermakers to advance to the round of 32. The Midwest region. Number 1 seed Kansas Jayhawks against the number 16 seed Penn Quakers. The Jayhawks have great players in Devontae Graham and Malik Newman. The Quakers should have been a 15 seed. Darnell Foreman and A.J. Brodeur are solid players. But Kansas is all around the better team. They're going to beat Penn by double digits to advance to the round of 32. Number 8 seed Seton Hall Pirates against number 9 seed NC State Wolfpack. The Pirates have a great trio in Angelo Delgado, Miles Powell, and Desi Rodriguez, and I think they have a great chance to win this game, but I am taking the NC State Wolfpack. They're a big game team. Alaric Freeman's a great player, so give me the Wolfpack to advance to the round of 32. And by the way, Seton Hall has lost in the round of 64 the last 2 seasons. 5 seed Clemson Tigers against number 12 seed New Mexico State Aggies. The Tigers, I think, are the weakest 5 seed. They lost their best player in Dante Graham earlier in the year. Marquise Reed and Sheldon Mitchell are solid players, though, but I am taking the New Mexico State Aggies. It's a perfect matchup for them. Zach Lofton and Jamario Jones are an awesome duo, and they'll lead the way to what I think is going to be a popular 12-over-5 upset. So give me the Aggies of New Mexico State to advance to the round of 32. Number 4 seed Auburn Tigers against the number 13 seed Charleston Cougars. The Tigers lost their best player in Fernie McLemore. Guys like Bryce Brown, Jared Harper, and Mustafa Heron need to step up, and they're a weak 4 seed. The Cougars have a solid player in Grant Willer, but I think the Auburns are still the better team, or the Tigers, I should say. So give me the Auburn Tigers to advance to the round of 32. Number 6 seed TCU Horned Frogs against number 11 seed Arizona State Sun Devils. The Horned Frogs are missing Jalen Fisher, who is one of their best players. Vlad Brodzianski is a solid player, and Jamie Dixon's a very good coach. The Sun Devils have had some big wins this season. Bobby Hurley's an outstanding coach. They have a great backcourt in Trey Holder and Remy Martin. And give me the Sun Devils to advance to the round of 32 over what I think is a somewhat overseeded TCU Horned Frogs team. Number 3 seed Michigan State Spartans against the 14 seed Bucknell Bison. The Spartans arguably should be a 2 seed. Miles Bridges and Jared Jackson Jr. is a great duo, and Tom Izzo is obviously a great coach. I think the Bison are overseeded, but Stephen Brown's a solid player. And like I said, the Bison are overseeded, so Michigan State's going to blow the doors off the Bucknell Bison to advance to the round of 32. Number 7 seed Rhode Island Rams against the number 10 seed Oklahoma Sooners. The Rams have a great duo in E.C. Matthews and Jared Terrell. The Sooners have Trae Young, but that team has not been the same for 2.5 months now. I think the Sooners peaked earlier in the year, so give me the Rams of Rhode Island to advance to the round of 32. Number 2 seed Duke Blue Devils against number 15 seed Iona Gales. The Blue Devils have an outstanding 5-some unit of Marvin Bagley, Wendell Carter, Gary Trent, Grayson Allen, and Trayvon Duval. Coach K is amazing. This team is great. The Gales, I think, got the right seeding. Tim Lewis is a great coach. Zach Lewis is a solid player. But let's face it, they're not Duke. Duke's going to blow out Iona. So give me the Duke Blue Devils to advance to the round of 32. West Region. Number 1 seed Xavier Musketeers against number 16 seed Texas Southern Tigers. The Musketeers have a great player named Trayvon Blewett and have nice role players in Karen Cantor, Najee Marshall, and Quinton Gooden. The Tigers have 2 nice players in DeMontre Jefferson and Trayvon Reed, but the Musketeers are by far better, and they should blow out the Texas Southern Tigers. So I'll take the Musketeers to advance to the round of 32. Number 8 seed Missouri Tigers against number 9 seed Florida State Seminoles. The Tigers have Michael Porter Jr. back from injury. This allows him to have more practice time after they lost to Georgia in the SEC tournament. Jonte Parker and Carius Robertson are good players too. Florida State is a solid team though. But you know what? Give me Missouri to advance to the round of 32 because I just think they're more talented. Although Leonard Hamilton's a nice coach and the Seminoles should hang around in this game. Number 5 seed Ohio State Buckeyes against number 12 seed South Dakota State Jackrabbits. The Buckeyes have a great player in Keita Bates-Diop. I think the Buckeyes are underseeded considering that they finished in the top 3 in the Big Ten. I think the Jackrabbits are a great team. Mike Baum's an awesome player. I just wish they played a weaker 5 seed than Ohio State. So give me the Ohio State Buckeyes to advance to the round of 32. Number 4 seed Gonzaga Bulldogs against the number 13 seed UNC Greensboro Spartans. The Bulldogs have a great player in Killian Tilly. Jonathan Williams, Rui Hachimura, and Corey Kispert are great players as well. This Gonzaga team is underseeded. I think they should have been a 3 seed. The Spartans are overseeded, as I mentioned before. Demetrius Troy's a nice player, but the Bulldogs are going to crush the Spartans, and Gonzaga is going to move on to the round of 32. Houston Cougars against the San Diego State Aztecs. A 6 is the right seeding for the Cougars. Ron Gray's a really good player. The Aztecs probably should be a 12 seed. Troy Kell's a good player. I'd have strongly considered picking the Aztecs if they played a weaker 16 like a Miami. But give me the Cougars, who are playing really well right now, to advance to the round of 32. Number 3 seed Michigan Wolverines against number 14 seed Montana Grizzlies. The Wolverines are a great team, and they finished the season great, but I think they're a tiny bit overseeded. I think they belonged on the 4 line. But winning the Big Ten tournament does you wonders as you appear on the 3 line. Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, Moritz Wagner, Duncan Robinson, and Xavier Simpson are all awesome players. The Grizzlies do have Michael Aguni. He's a nice player, and I think the Grizzlies are properly seeded. But that said, Wolverines are the by far better team, and they'll move on to the round of 32. Number 7 seed Texas A&M Aggies against number 10 seed Providence Friars. This was a tough call. The Aggies have Robert Williams, Tyler Davis, and TJ Starks, who are great players, and the Aggies won big games earlier in the year, but faltered in conference play. The Friars are a deserving 10th seed for making it to the Big East final, or else they would have been either in the playing game or on the last 4 byes. Alpha Diallo is a nice player for the Friars, but give me the Aggies in a close one to advance to the round of 32. Number 2 seed North Carolina Tar Heels against the number 15 seed Lipscomb Bisons. You can make a case the Tar Heels are overseeded because they have 10 losses, but all those great wins accumulates to a 2 seed as well as an appearance in the ACC tournament final. The Tar Heels have a great trio in Joel Berry, Luke May, and Cameron Johnson. This is a big game team. They passed the eye test. The Bisons thought they were going to be a 16 seed. Well, I certainly thought that. Garrison Matthews is a solid player for them. They can shoot the 3 ball, but Carolina's also really good at shooting 3s. Lipscomb doesn't play any defense, so give me the Tar Heels big over the Bisons. Round of 32, I have number 1 seed Virginia against number 9 seed Kansas State, and give me the Virginia Cavaliers, whose defense is too much for the Wildcats to overcome, as Kyle Guy and Devin Hall lead the way for the Cavs to advance to the Sweet 16. 4 seed Arizona Wildcats against the 5 seed Kentucky Wildcats. This is going to be a great game, the best of round of 32 game for sure. The Arizona Wildcats have the best player in DeAndre Ayton, who will be too much for the UK Wildcats to overcome. So give me the Arizona Wildcats to advance to the Sweet 16 in the South region. Number 3 seed Tennessee Vols against the number 11 seed Loyola Chicago Ramblers. The Ramblers can seriously win this matchup, but I'm going to say the Vols barely survived, and Grant Williams and James Daniel lead the way for the Vols to go to the Sweet 16. Number 2 seed Cincinnati Bearcats against the number 10 seed Texas Longhorns. The Bearcats' defense will be too much for the Longhorns to overcome, and Mo Bamba is not 100% healthy, although I have Texas defeating Nevada in the round of 64. So give me Gary Clark and Jacob Evans to lead the way to the Bearcats to go to the Sweet 16 in the South region. East region, round of 32. Number 1 seed Villanova Wildcats against the 9 seed Alabama Crimson Tide. The Tide arguably have the best player on the court in Colin Sexton, but the Wildcats are the better team, led by Mikal Bridges and Jalen Brunson. So give me the Villanova Wildcats to advance to the Sweet 16. Number 4 seed Wichita State against number 5 seed West Virginia. I mentioned in the round of 64 for the Wichita State Shockers that their defense isn't as good as usual, but and that can be said for Press Virginia's style, but Press Virginia is still relevant, and there'll be too much to overcome for the Shockers as Javon Carter will use his two-way skills, and Sagaba Kanante will protect the rim well for the Mountaineers to advance to the Sweet 16. Number 3 seed Texas Tech Red Raiders against number 11 seed UCLA Bruins. Give me the Red Raiders here, who are the better team, although Keenan Evans is not 100%. And I almost took the Bruins here, but give me the Red Raiders in a close one to advance to the Sweet 16. Number 2 seed Purdue Boilermakers against number 10 seed Butler Bulldogs. The Boilermakers are flat out the better team, although it would be very Butler of them to win here as a 10th seed. Carson Edwards, Vincent Edwards, and Isaac Haas lead the way for the Boilermakers to go to the Sweet 16. The Midwest region, round of 32. Number 1 seed Kansas Jayhawks against number 9 seed NC State Wolfpack. The Jayhawks are the way better team here and have Aduka Azubuike back, as Devontae Graham and Malik Newman lead the way for the Jayhawks as well as Azubuike. Number 4 seed Auburn Tigers against number 12 seed New Mexico State Aggies. You know what? Give me the Aggies to pull off another upset over another overseeded and shorthanded Tigers team, except this Tigers team is missing a Fernie McElmore. That's funny that New Mexico State in my bracket is defeating the Clemson Tigers and now the Auburn Tigers. So give me the New Mexico State Aggies to go to the Sweet 16. Number 3 seed Michigan State against number 11 seed Arizona State Sun Devils. The Spartans are just the better team, led by Miles Bridges and Jaren Jackson Jr. They'll be the best guys on the court. This will be a closer game than people think because Bobby Hurley's team is going to be prepared. Trey Holder and Remy Martin are nice players in their backcourt, but still give me the Spartans to advance to the Sweet 16 over the Sun Devils. Number 2 seed Duke Blue Devils against number 7 seed Rhode Island Rams. This is going to be a closer game than expected thanks to E.C. Matthews and Jared Terrell, but Marvin Bagley and company prevail and lift the Blue Devils into the Sweet 16, so give me Duke over Rhode Island. West Region, round of 32, number 1 seed Xavier Musketeers against number 8 seed Missouri Tigers. I think the Tigers hang around in this one thanks to the 2 Porters and Carius Robertson. But the Musketeers are the better team here, led by Trayvon Blewett, as they'll advance to the Sweet 16. Number 4 seed Gonzaga Bulldogs against number 5 seed Ohio State Buckeyes. You know what? Give me a mild upset here with the Ohio State Buckeyes, led by Keita Bates-Diop, who will be the best guy on the court in this game, which should be a great game, a rematch from earlier in the season. Killian Tilly's an awesome player too, and I won't be surprised at all if the Bulldogs were to win this matchup. So give me the Ohio State Buckeyes to advance to the Sweet 16. Number 3 seed Michigan Wolverines against number 6 seed Houston Cougars. The Cougars might be a popular pick here, but so are the Wolverines. The Wolverines are the better team here, and they play great defense. John Beilein's a great tournament coach. Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, Maurice Wagner, Duncan Robinson, and Xavier Simpson, as I mentioned before. That's a nice group for the Wolverines. I think this will be a closer game than people think because Rob Gray is an awesome player, and he'll keep the Cougars lurking. So give me the Wolverines to advance to the Sweet 16. Number 2 seed North Carolina Tar Heels against number 7 seed Texas A&M Aggies. Texas A&M did not finish the regular season well, and they lost to Alabama in the conference tournament. And the Tar Heels are just the better team, led by Joel Berry, Luke May, and Cameron Johnson, as the Tar Heels will advance to the Sweet 16. So give me North Carolina. Sweet 16 South Region. Number 1 Virginia Cavaliers against number 4 seed Arizona Wildcats. You know what? Give me the Wildcats in an upset. DeAndre Ayton's the best player on the court. He'll dominate in a super close game. And the Wildcats will win the battle of 2 coaches that have never been to the Final Four in Sean Miller and Tony Bennett. Number 2 seed Cincinnati Bearcats against number 3 seed Tennessee Vols. Give me the Bearcats, led by Jacob Evans and Gary Clark. Their defense will overwhelm the Vols. So give me the Bearcats to advance to Elite 8. East Region Sweet 16. Number 1 Villanova Wildcats against number 5 West Virginia Mountaineers. I'm going to say Press Virginia finally gets exposed here by a better team in the Wildcats, led by Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges. Although I won't be that surprised if the Mountaineers were to pull this game off because of their veteran backcourt of Javon Carter and Dexter Miles Jr. and the great rim protecting of Sagaba Kanate. So give me the Villanova Wildcats to advance to the Elite 8. Number 2 seed Purdue Boilermakers against number 3 seed Texas Tech Red Raiders. I just think the Boilermakers are all around the better team than the Red Raiders. And the Red Raiders' best player in Keenan Evans is not healthy. And Purdue's big 3 of Vincent Edwards, Carson Edwards, and Isaac Hass will lead the way for them to the Elite 8. Midwest Region, number 1 seed Kansas Jayhawks against number 12 seed New Mexico State Aggies. Nice run for the Aggies, whose Cinderella run will finally come to an end against a superior opponent in the Kansas Jayhawks, led by Malik Newman and Devontae Graham. Midwest Region as well, number 2 Blue Devils against number 3 seed Michigan State Spartans. This has the makings of an epic classic in the Sweet 16. A ton of talent on both ends with Marvin Bagley, Grayson Allen, Trayvon Duvall, Wendell Carter. And on the other side you have Miles Bridges and Jaron Jackson. This is a rematch game from earlier in the year, and give me the Michigan State Spartans to advance to the Elite 8. West Region Sweet 16, number 1 seed Xavier Musketeers against number 5 seed Ohio State Buckeyes. You know what? Give me the Ohio State Buckeyes to knock off another 1 seed in Xavier. Keita Bates-Diop and the Buckeyes continue their unexpected run with an upset over the Musketeers, as Trayvon Blewett will keep the Musketeers alive in this one, although this is going to be a close game. But I just have a funny feeling about the Buckeyes in this tournament, so give me the Buckeyes of Ohio State to advance to Elite 8. Sweet 16 in the West Region as well. Number 2 seed North Carolina Tar Heels against number 3 seed Michigan Spartans. This was a tough call, and the winner of this game won't surprise me in any way. Both of these teams are big gamers. Both of these teams have a ton of talent. Both of these teams have great coaches in Roy Williams and John Beilein. But give me the North Carolina Tar Heels, led by Joel Berry, Cameron Johnson, and Luke May, to advance to the Elite Eight. In the Elite Eight South Region game, number 2 Cincinnati Bearcats against number 4 Arizona Wildcats. Give me the Arizona Wildcats as DeAndre Ayton continues to make a case for the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft, as Sean Miller will make his first ever Final Four. So give me the Arizona Wildcats over the Cincinnati Bearcats. East Region, number 1 Villanova Wildcats against number 2 Purdue Boilermakers. I think this is going to be a fun game. Give me the Wildcats here, led by Mikal Bridges and Jalen Brunson, over a very good Boilermaker team that has 3 outstanding players in Carson Edwards, Vincent Edwards, and Isaac Haas. Like I said, this is going to be a close game, has a chance to be a classic, as Jay Wright's team will advance to his second Final Four in 3 seasons. Midwest Region, number 1 Kansas Jayhawks against number 3 seed Michigan State Spartans. Should be another great game, as Michigan State survives another great battle, as Bill Self loses in the Elite Eight yet again. Miles Bridges and Jaren Jackson Jr. dominate, are arguably the best 2 guys in the court in this game. They'll advance to the Final Four. West, number 2 seed North Carolina Tar Heels against number 5 seed Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm going to say the Buckeyes' run comes to an end here against a more experienced Tar Heels team, led by Luke May, Cameron Johnson, and Joel Berry. So give me the Tar Heels here. Final Four. You have North Carolina Tar Heels against the Arizona Wildcats. This has potential for a great, great, great game. Ayton's the best guy on the court, but the Tar Heels are the more experienced team and will advance their 3rd straight national championship game. So give me the Tar Heels over the Wildcats in what should be a classic. Another makings of a classic game, number 1 Villanova Wildcats of the East against number 3 seed Michigan State Spartans of the Midwest region. This, like I said, has the makings of a classic game. Battle of 2 Bridges, by the way, and I think Miles Bridges' team is the one that advances here, thanks to him and Jaren Jackson Jr., as the Michigan State Spartans will advance to the national championship game. My national championship game is number 2 North Carolina Tar Heels of the West region against number 3 seed Michigan State Spartans from the Midwest region. This is going to be another great national championship game. Has a chance to be a classic. This is also a regular season rematch. The Spartans won this game, or won this matchup earlier in the season in November in Portland. But you know what? I rarely pick repeats. And give me a repeat here. I think the Tar Heels repeat as national champions, led by a more experienced roster. Joel Berry, Luke May, Cameron Johnson, Theo Pinson. Roy Williams wins his 2nd straight championship. So give me the North Carolina Tar Heels to win the 2018 NCAA tournament. Okay, that was a fun podcast. I'll look back on this after the national championship game and see how I do. I hope you guys have a nice day, everybody.